Incap published today its Q3 results, and as always, I have the company CEO Otto Pukk here with me in the interview. Welcome, Otto.
Thank you.
Let's start going through Q3 figures from the top line. You reported 16% decline in sales due to FX, trade tensions, and delays in customer projects. Can you split the decline to these three drivers anyhow?
Yeah, we didn't take that out exactly in the report. I think Antti gave during the webinar some light upon how much is the currency effect out of that, but otherwise it's a combination. I don't have the figures on top of my head currently on exactly the split in between.
Yeah, Antti mentioned the FX impact in the report, and I'll report in my report on Monday to investors. How about progress in different units? Did you feel similar kind of declines in all factories, or were weakness concentrated to certain units?
No, I think if you look in the big picture, of course there is different progress in different units always, and this is the case as well. So when we are talking about, for example, postponement of some customer projects, then that is of course limited to some more specific units. So it is a variation depending on what kind of customers we have and so in the different units. But what I can say in general is that if you look at the decline in some of these units, I wouldn't say that it's now unique specific. It's more a question of what customers we have where. So I wouldn't draw the conclusion that it's because the unit is in one market or another in that sense.
Okay. How about these delayed projects? Do you expect to deliver them in Q4 or later next year, and have there any major projects that has been cancelled?
No cancellations. What we have seen so far, so there's been slow starts in some of the projects, and some now that have had an impact we see already starting in Q4, and so if we are gonna be able to deliver all of it in Q4 is a question mark. I think some will be dragged along this year. It's always a question of material availability and so on, but we see them slowly starting, and so that's why we also are positive looking forward on Q4 and so on.
Let's continue down to P&L statement. You reported, as always, very solid 11% adjusted operating margin. Any comments about profitability in Q3?
Yeah, no, I think we have a strong model and how we operate, and we have also, of course, worked very hard with the teams to defend the EBIT number, reducing costs and reducing employees and so where needed to achieve that. So it's a combination, but from hard work but also the strength of our model that we can cope with both higher demands and lower demands, and business always is volatile.
Let's continue still down in P&L statement and talk a bit about net financing costs. Incap has like a very significant net cash position, but you have paid year to date 1.5 million financing cost on net basis. I understand you hold cash to do M&A later, but isn't there any options to get any kind of returns for this cash while waiting for the right choice in M&A market?
Yeah, there is some return. We get some so on that as well. I think Antti opened up a little bit on that during the webinar as well on exactly what this consists of, but a big part of this as well is the financial cost is driven also by from the currency exchange part. So that's it. But hopefully we don't have it lying around too long in that sense.
Yeah, looking forward that. You printed in the report that sales pipeline for Q4 is promising. Has this pipeline already realized in October to any extent, or do you expect to realize it at the end of the quarter?
Yeah, no, in that sense, we expect the quarter to be better than the one we came from in that sense, and that we already know, and it has in that sense realized that we know what orders we have and gonna do this. So we wouldn't expect any surprises in that sense.
Okay, and I understand you don't give guidance for 26 yet, but if we consider a bit outlook, how the world looks like. What do you see in the horizon going forward to next year, and how are your customer forecasts that your customers give you usually 6 to 9 month horizon? How are they developing currently?
Yeah, no, of course we're not commenting in detail, but we are in budgeting processes, and we are of course in discussions with our customers and so. And I wouldn't say that I see any negative or decline in that sense, but it's still a cautiousness in people don't know fully how the world different kind of trade mechanism and so will look like, and also we still have geopolitical tensions, with the war in Ukraine and so on going on, and so I would say I mentioned during the webinar that where we see clear growth in what sectors is in defense and aerospace, and of course also in around AI and data center development and construction, and of course as I mentioned also in the webinar, the infrastructure for the service, and so they're of course the tier ones are taking the big share, but there is secondary systems and things around where companies like Incap can be successful, and that is also what we're working on with.
What is your position in this AI and data center market? If we think about this, like secondary options that you mentioned, how much of sales are you generating from these kind of sectors as we speak?
Now I'm talking about possibilities, of course, and
okay.
and when I mean secondary systems, and so with two these kind of data centers, there's a lot of normal infrastructure, everything from cooling to electricity systems and backup systems for electricity and so on, and so that is, I would say, perhaps classically not seen as the AI sector, but it needs, I would say, normal industrial the equipment as well to run, and of course in the industrial sector is our home in that sense, and that is where Incap is perhaps strongest. So but I'm talking like indirectly that we can also have a share, even if we're not the one tier one and will not be able to perhaps compete on what's going into the data centers when it comes to hardware.
Of course, I understand. Then let's talk about at the end a bit about M&A, as we have done many times before. You said in the report that you have developed your M&A strategy recently. Could you give any tangible examples? What kind of things you have been thinking and considering recently when it comes to M&A?
Yeah, no, we have been, as the market is more active and so as well, then we have gone through our strategy and looked. Of course, for us, it's still important that the acquisitions we make are value creating for us and or of a strategic like nature that it brings us clearly into a new market or into a customer segment or a customer that is interesting for us, or give us capability or capacity or whatnot, that is of a strategic nature in that sense. I guess all acquisitions are strategic in one way or another, but if you understand what I mean in that sense.
Yeah.
So that we have had discussion around and trying to define for us that looking into our pipeline and try to look in where the focuses should be, and so I wouldn't say we have done any big overhaul. We have reviewed it and had an exercise on that, and that is what I'm mentioning in the report as well. So I still think we have a good pipeline, and I think we're doing good work, and sooner or later something will end up on the hook, and I'm quite sure that it will be a good company.
Yeah, it's also true that many of your peers have done M&A this year, and we will see later if all these deals will be value creative for their shareholders in the long run. And in general, it's very good to be cautious when it comes to M&A. But on the other hand, it's also a risk to be too selective in this kind of consolidating business. What's your take on that?
Yeah, no, of course, there is always a risk when you do acquisitions, and also the risk is I would say that you can be selective to some extent, and so always, but in the end it's a little bit the market that sets the price. So if there is a lot of interest suddenly and a lot of activities, then the multiples tend to be higher, and when there's a little interest, and so then it's lower, and that of course you can't affect that, what in the end of the day the market prices are. So you can be selective yourself, but then or you can be how to say, the market can do its own selection through competition. So it's always a balance between both.
Yes, that's true as well. That was all from my side. I thank you for interview once again, Otto, and good luck for the end of the year.
Thank you very much.